Okay, so welcome to Workplace Essentials. This is just a very short session this morning to help you understand what is required in the workplace to get you ready for either placement or for your graduate job. My name is Jackie Smyth. I'm Careers Development Consultant and Employability Advisor at Korean Campus. And I have a funny contract in my job. I work for Employability and Careers for Ulster. Half my week I work to support School of Psychology, Interactive Media and Journalism in Careers Consultancy, and the other half of the week I work on the Enterprise Placement Year programme, which is in its second year, and that's where we have lots of students who are setting up and running their own businesses for placement. So that is really exciting. It's going really well, and you never know, maybe some of you are actually thinking of joining us in EPY next year to set up your own business. And if so, now you know me and you've seen me and you know to get in touch. Okay, so without further ado, we're going to just kick off the session. So today we're going to look at the types of areas that you need to think about when you're going into a workplace. What's expected of you while you're there? How can you ensure you're a good fit in the organisation, and that your employer is impressed with how you integrate into the workplace, work with others, and deliver results. So this session is going to look at expectations from an employer perspective and will help you understand not only the skills, the competencies and practice needed, but also how you can start to think about getting yourself well prepared during this year so that you can hit the ground running when you get up and running in start your placement or your graduate job next year. So the areas we're going to be looking at are behavioural competencies, and this may be a new terminology to some of you, so I'm going to explain what that is, because that is definitely a term that is used in every workplace. We're going to look at soft and hard skills, the differences, good work practices. Another area which I really enjoy is the thinking performer, and I'm going to explain what that is. And then finally, just to get yourselves work ready. So the first thing is behavioural competencies. So what are they? Well, these focus on your personal attributes or input. So basically, it's the behaviours that you use in the workplace and the attributes. It's not just about the job you do, it's how you do it. And in the workplace or in any organisation, especially the bigger organisations that some of you have actually just mentioned in the chat, every year you will have a performance review with your supervisor or line manager. And in that performance review, you will be expected to reflect on your the way that you have done your job, the results that you've delivered, and how you have developed your skills, your personal qualities, and your professional qualities throughout your job that year. But it's also a great opportunity for you to talk to your managers and be able to say, well, actually, this is an area I've struggled with. I would like to avail of more training so that I can get better at that particular area or that skill or that piece of knowledge so that I can deliver better results for the coming year. So you will find that that word competency is used a lot in the workplace. It's also used when you go to apply for jobs. You'll find that there may be a competency framework, and they will ask you to outline at interview areas and evidence and examples of how you maybe practice different skills, that you have acquired those or that you have carried those out in a particular workplace or volunteering or in university. Okay, and we're going to look at a couple of these now. So the reason that they're used is, first and foremost, is to make sure that recruitment is fair. So if they're asking people to apply for a job, they will send them the same competencies, and everybody has the same opportunity to provide the evidence and talk about those competencies in a fair way. They also make sure that people are paid fairly, that they are reviewed fairly, and it also gives the employees an opportunity to see which areas that they are performing exceptionally well in, and how they are using those areas to maybe encourage and support and coach other members of the team, but also being able to reflect and see what areas that they really do need to address and put training plans into place to address those. So this is a couple of examples of what a behavioural competencies might look like. I've given you one for civil service and one for the OECD, and you can see that they are the same but different. So the OECD has three key areas that they want their employees to make sure that they are delivering results in and working towards. So they have delivery related an area, so they have skills such as analytical thinking, flexible thinking, managing resources and teamwork, etc. They have interpersonal skills, so how do you influence others? How good are you at negotiating and organisational knowledge? And then they have strategic area, and that is about strategic networking, strategic thinking. So that's a bigger picture, blue sky thinking there. Civil service, and this is one that is very interesting, and I'm going to put the two links for these two frameworks into the chat here. But the civil service is one that I do want a lot of you to pay attention to, because it may well be that you will have to maybe be applying for a job or a placement in the civil service. And it's a good idea to ensure that you understand the key areas that they expect their employees to be working towards day in, day out within their job roles. And if there are areas there, as Donna very ably says, you know, there are areas, we're not all going to be brilliant at everything, guys, you know. So if there are areas that you feel, do you know what, I'm not great at that, you know, you need to think about how you can improve that, and you need to be able to identify what it is that you are a bit not really up to speed on. One of the, just as a top tip on this, if you're not sure about your strengths and weaknesses, we have an edge activity. Donna, do you want to pop that into the chat for me there? It's a self-awareness and reflection activity where you get to actually do little careers assessments and figure out what areas you're really good at, what areas you need to develop. And we ask you to do a SWOT analysis on yourself to also identify any opportunities or any threats that could prevent you from moving forward. And once you have identified those areas, then you can make actions and put actions into place to actually develop in those and grow in those skills, so that when you come to interview, you can talk about it and hopefully win the job. So we're talking about competencies, and you've seen in that competency framework, thanks Donna, in that competency framework, we've got mentioned a lot of skills, and we have soft skills and hard skills. So soft skills, we're talking about things like interpersonal skills, personal attributes, and then hard skills are your technical skills and your knowledge. So could I get a few ideas from some of you as to what type of skills under those two headings do you think employers would require from you and ask of you in the workplace? So just put in the name of the skill, and if you think it's a soft skill, put soft, and if you think it's a hard skill, put hard. Okay, I'm just going to give you 1 minute starting from now, and just pop your answers into the chat for us there. So give me a skill that employers look for, and whether it's soft skill or hard skill. Mark, effective communication, soft skill, 100%. Brilliant. Fantastic. Thanks, Donna. Good stuff. Okay, any of the rest of you? Anybody else? Analytic skills, hard. Um, yeah, well, that's a good one, Sarah, actually. So analytic skills can be hard skills. Um, Analytic skills can also be in soft skills if you're thinking about things like critical thinking. But yes, if you're using analytical practices, as Donna said, things like you're in biomed, you're maybe analysing using equipment and all of that, those processes, then yes, those would be technical, they would be hard skills. Okay, any others? No? Oh, Julie, thank you. CAD, other software packages, hard skills, 100%. Excellent. Time management soft, 100%, Mark. Fantastic. Well done. Okay, so we're going to fly on here. We're going to play workplace bingo. So I have represented the top key skills that employers look for in the workplace, and they're represented by little icons. So could you, anybody know what the briefcase stands for? Feel free to put it in the chat or put your mic on. I'm happy with either. Preparedness, no. Professionalism, nearly. Right, in fact, I'll tell you what, I haven't used this before, so just tell me any of those icons that you recognize, just give me a skill that you think any of them are representing. Teamwork is there, 100%, Sarah. Brilliant. Okay, we're off the ground running now. I think Mark mentioned time management earlier, so it's there. Yes, management leadership is there. Organization, I think, is there. Creative thinking. Brilliant. Communication, fantastic. Okay, right. Let's see if this works. It doesn't work. I forgot because I uploaded it as a PDF. Okay, so I'll tell you the ones, sorry, I'm going to tell you the ones that are hidden there in the background. So we've got the first one represented by the briefcase is commercial awareness. And then we've got communication, teamwork, digital skills, problem solving, leadership or management, time management, resilience was represented by the fist up, confidence was a superhero, and motivation. So those are the key skills that employers look for in the workplace. And there are various ways that we can evidence those and demonstrate them. So what I want you to do is just, if I share a whiteboard here, if I can do that, I'm just going to do that now. So on the whiteboard, what I would like you to do is to just jot down a few ideas of if an employer asked you, could you evidence, for instance, teamwork skills? I want you to pop down a couple of answers as to where you could, what you could talk about and where you could show and demonstrate that you have good teamwork skills or that you have built those up. So just pop a couple of things. Part-time job, we're off flying, absolutely, 100%. Anything else? Yes, group projects, fantastic. Sports, absolutely. Worked on a project with several other staff, yep, brilliant. Any other ways you can show teamwork? Yes, clubs and societies, 100%. Okay, I'm going to throw another skill into the mix here. Maybe something that's a wee bit harder to evidence. What about motivation? What kind of activities and evidence could you provide to show that you are a motivated person? Have you done anything that has shown your motivation, achieved anything? Competition. Whoever put down competition, could you expand on that? When you say competition, what are we talking about there? Any other ideas? You want it to win and how you manage to win? Yes, good. Okay. Um, Motivation, introduce a new service or product to encourage a team. Fantastic. Yes, absolutely. So motivation is something that you have worked hard at to achieve and you haven't given up and you've been driven and determined to achieve a result. So for instance, if any of you have done your Duke of Edinburgh Award or, excuse me, won any awards for competitions, as we said, or projects that you've worked on. Perhaps you have been maybe challenged in your own life through different circumstances, but you haven't given up and you've been motivated to stay the course and to keep going. Perhaps there have been difficulties that you've had to overcome, such as maybe any learning difficulties like dyslexia or anything, but you have kept going. You have put support mechanisms in place to keep you motivated so that you actually do go through and you achieve your end goal. Okay, so that's just to give you a few ideas. And somebody had said, yes, completing the EDGE award is a learning motivator. Absolutely. So being motivated to do something on top of your primary degree where it's going to allow you to achieve something extra to put you head and shoulders above the other person who also has the same degree classification as you. So that is something else that will show that you are a driven person and that you are motivated. And that brings us on nicely to one of my favorite topics, which is called the thinking performer. And this is a train of thought from the Chartered Institute of Personnel Development. And this is one of the most sought after types of employees that a business wants. And this is someone who has attitude and the aptitude and skills to succeed. They work both efficiently and effectively. And as you can see from the little grid here, you can see effectiveness goes up that way, efficiency progresses along the x-axis. And when you are a thinking performer, you're at the top of your game in efficiency and effectiveness. You're always looking for initiatives to do your job better. You're always being proactive. You're always timely, as somebody mentioned earlier about time management and deadlines. And you're always thinking about, and this is where the commercial awareness skill comes in, and not a lot of people focus on that, but it's been asked for more and more by businesses, is that you understand what the business is about, what their vision, their mission, and their values are, and their business objectives. And you understand how you fit into that piece of the jigsaw puzzle and how what you do in your job actually affects everything that the business is about. And you're always constantly thinking of new ways that that business can perform better. Um, if you are that type of employee, you're highly desired. You're the sort of person that gets headhunted to go to other jobs and be offered more money. You know, those sorts of people are just so valuable to an employer. So if that is something that you'd like to learn more about, I have popped a link in there. I'm going to just pop a YouTube link in here in the chat for you because there's a very interesting little YouTube video about that, and it might be something you want to explore more. So that is definitely that type of person. That thinking performer is always on the go. They're always ahead of the game. So we talked a lot about the types of skills, the types of competencies that employers desire in the workplace, and we've talked about um, the um, the thinking performer, the person who's at the top of their game. But how do you actually, become work ready? What kind of evidence can you build, and how can you prove to an employer that you are somebody who is going to be that efficient and effective person in the workplace? Well, there's a little grid called, well, I don't know whether you call it SEC or SACE, but we call it skills, attitudes, knowledge, and experience. And this is a great place to actually sit down and detail the skills, the attributes, knowledge, and experience that you already have, that you can already testify to and prove and have evidence of. So it's a good exercise to do if you want to take a wee note of that, maybe to do after this session or do later on this week, and do in preparation for meeting with an employer. I've put some examples up there from my own personal life as to the types of skills I have, but not only in each of those categories what I have, but also how I back it up. How can I prove to an employer that I have it? So for instance, I've said I'm proficient in Microsoft Office applications. Brilliant. How can I prove that? Well, I do have a certificate to prove it. I have taught ECDL. I teach Microsoft Office. So those are the sorts of things that you can show. The attributes are a wee bit harder to show. So how can you show that you are a trustworthy and responsible person? Well, that comes into what you do. Maybe some people there mentioned that they are maybe student reps, or you're maybe one of the committee members in a club or society, or volunteering. So all of those things show that you are, oh, I've thought of another one. Anybody here maybe work in a cafe where the owner has given you the keys of the cafe, you're a key holder and you're responsible for locking up, or maybe you take the money to the bank and do the banking. My goodness, that is an excellent example of how you are trustworthy, honest, and responsible. Okay, so start writing those things down. And as Donna says, this SACE template is a great way for you to start preparing evidence for your CV. Okay, I'm hoping all of this is helpful. So, final tips. What I want you to think about is I want you to go back through the chat here, and if you haven't already sat down and done a skills assessment of yourself and figured out what you're good at and what you need to develop, where your opportunities are and where your threats are, I would encourage you to do that. And certainly you can do that Edge Award activity that we have to help you with that. Or you can go on to some of the careers assessments just yourself on our Ab Integro platform. Don't know, Donna or Julie, would you put the link in for Ab Integro there if you don't mind? I'm actually going to be going through all of these tools in my next session now at 11 o'clock, by the way, if you want to stay on for that or go to the next link. So do an assessment of yourself. Put an action plan in place. So having the assessment is great, but if you're not going to do anything with the results, it's not going to get you anywhere. So you need to have actions. And here's some ideas. Take up opportunities. Attend skills workshops, which you're doing today. Well done. Put that down that you've done that today and that you understand now what competency framework is. Do some volunteering, go and get some work experience, do a placement. Maybe you have a part-time job, maybe you're going to be working on different group projects within your university course, so get involved in those. Follow employers and stay up to date with their latest news. Have they won any awards? Have they done any research which is like groundbreaking? That's the sort of stuff you need to stay on top of, and you can follow them through their website, through their newsletters, or through the likes of LinkedIn, which I'm going to be talking at the next session. Okay. Alumni mentoring. Can I just say, we have a fantastic alumni mentoring program here at Ulster, and these are Ulster graduates who are now out there working. They sat where you sat, they're out there working, and they want to coach you and mentor you and give you tips and help you with networking. So please do go and check out the alumni mentoring at Ulster. And the last thing I would say for today is everything that you do, practice, practice, practice. Get every opportunity you have to practice the skills that you're putting down on your CV to that employer and saying that you can do. Guys, I hope this has been an interesting session for you and useful. I'm going to try and pop another couple of links into the chat for you just to give you a wee bit more help in understanding what employers want in the workplace, what they're looking for, so that you can stay up to date and you know what you should be working towards. Okay, guys, have you any questions? Do you want any further tips or advice? Sorry, I saw somebody there had said, what is SAG or SAG? Who was that? Somebody had joined late and said that was SEG. There we go. So SEG, there we go, is skills, attitudes, knowledge, and experience. Okay, so guys, if you have no more questions, you are free to go. Yes, Mark, the next session will be recorded, absolutely. Completing age activities increase your employability, Sarah, 100%. What we always advise is choose relevant age activities to your career vision or plan. So if you're not sure which ones to choose, then give one of our employability advisors a wee shout and we will help you choose ones that are highly relevant to your career journey. There's loads, there's like over 100 to choose from, so you'll not be stuck, Sarah. Is that okay? Great, good stuff. Okay. Guys, I'm gonna have to, I think Donna, just remind me, do I have to hop on a different link now for the next session?
Yes, Jackie. Is that all right, Jackie?
So I'll
Yep.
sign out the session and jump
Yep.
on to the
No
next one now.
problem.
All
That was
right.
brilliant. Thank you very much indeed. That was
I'll
brilliant.
stop recording. Thank you, everybody. See you
Bye.
later. Bye.